guys.
Good morning.
It's early. It's early for us, at least. Anyhow, this is episode 11, I believe, of the full folks getting together, having a good time. We're going to try to get one of these in early in the morning because we like scheduling issues. So, what are we talking about today, Aaron? Because we're all like still trying to wake up. I'm trying to wake up.
I'm still trying to wake up. I'm not.
We're trusting Aaron to be the one.
Anybody.
Let's go with a softball one first.
Softball.
Yeah,
one
softball
first?
questions
Okay.
first.
They're not at all softballs.
What are your favorite hobbies?
Oh, man. I'm boring.
See, I feel like that's a hard question.
That is a hard question. You go first. Let me think about it.
Aaron is the 7th. She's going to have the fun hobbies.
I feel like I have lots of hobbies. Yeah.
Aaron likes to try a little bit of everything.
I'm very into my houseplants.
Houseplants. Nice.
No,
I don't
I'm
feel as
such a
much
loser.
pressure now.
I was like, well, I do more than houseplants. Okay.
I do. I'm really into playing in snow right now. Snow's super
There you
fun.
go. Snow is awesome.
It's
Yes.
great right now.
We got
yeah.
dumped on.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Had to use four-wheel low for the first time ever since
Wow.
I've owned my truck.
Why? Where were you at?
I almost went into the only ditch in my front yard.
You did that this morning.
Yeah, and if I would have went down there, I don't know if a tow truck could pull me out.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's
Because where's the tow truck gonna go?
You seem kind of pissed.
Yeah, I was. Well, it was also 5:30 or 5. It was 5 a.m. and the truck's kind of loud as it is.
This morning?
No,
okay.
not this morning. That was the same day Kyle got hung up at the gym. It was that same day.
Was that Thursday?
But yeah, the truck is just I'm just slowly sliding because I back out of my driveway. I do it all the time. I'm pretty good at it. But anyway, this time
missed a little bit.
The only time ever, and my rear right tire was pretty much in that ditch.
In the abyss.
Yeah, so I thought, here we go, four-wheel low. And I'm like, the truck's going to roar a little bit, but it's okay.
Hey, got to get out and you got to get out. That's what it
I
is.
think you have to worry about your neighbors at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one neighbor's probably still drunk, and the other neighbor's on vacation, and after that,
Oh,
it's all
right. I
good.
mean, if you're somebody that tries to get out of Indiana in the winter, they're definitely gone.
Yeah. So,
Oof, goodness.
Good for them.
yeah.
So outside of
Anyway, hobbies.
putting your truck in ditches, what other hobbies you got?
I don't know. Right now in the winter,
I mean, you smoke meat.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I'm not really.
That's not really a hobby.
I'm not really doing anything. I'm waiting for the snow to melt. Like I'm so bored. Like I'm
Waiting for the snow to melt. Come on now, go out there and have some fun.
I mean, I can't really take my dog for a walk because she's gonna get icicle sand snowy, and how do you clean that up? Because I haven't figured out a way, And then someone's gonna say, "Oh, just give her a bath." I'm like, she is a woolly mammoth, so no, that's not gonna happen. So I'm just waiting for the snow to melt, like a few days. That's it, and then I can do fun stuff again.
Allegedly, it's supposed to get like
52
40
on Wednesday. Yeah.
Wow, my house is not gonna like that. I can't. Yeah, it's not gonna be good. I came up one morning and I already had this wall of icicles, and I was just like, oh, look at that. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's gonna be awesome. All this snow is gonna melt. Warrensville's gonna flood.
Yeah.
It'll be fine, guys.
I mean, it's gonna be fun. Anyway, apparently it's supposed to rain this week too, so that'll help a little bit. Kind of get the worst of the big stuff off. At least, hopefully, it doesn't freeze immediately the next day. That makes our job a little more difficult.
In the summer, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies don't change much summer to winter. I like hiking. Oddly enough, like winter or like rain hiking. Like when it's just terrible weather outside, you just see a different, I don't know, kind of outdoors. Like hiking in the winter is super fun because it's super quiet. It is dead quiet. You can just stand in the woods and you ever heard that? You ever had that silence is loud feeling?
Yeah.
Where it just feels overwhelmingly just wraps you in just silence. It's it's pretty cool.
Sounds lovely. I'm actually told the kids I'd take them hiking tomorrow because it's supposed to be 40.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be snow on the ground, so it won't feel like 40.
It'll probably be fine. I think the snow will
I think it'll be
fair-
great.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jared.
You're
Versus
good.
like mud. I think it'll be fun.
Oh, we'll get muddy for sure.
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't know. Maybe not.
I don't-
Depending
yeah,
on where you're going.
I don't know.
When-
Okay. Well,
I haven't. I'm told we can do this. I've never tried. So like I mountain bike as well. And like I only ever do, like obviously when it's dry and dirt, like what you're supposed to do.
yeah.
There's a way. There's guys that ride like these fat tire bikes that apparently you can ride in snow to some degree, or if things are super frozen. I've never tried. It seems like something I would do, and then just hit a tree really hard. Like, have a hard enough time dodging trees as it is. So I can only imagine that adding in a little bit of snow, it's not going to end well.
I'd
It may
really
cushion
like
your
to
fall too.
get into mountain biking.
It's fun.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. There's a place in Bloomington. Obviously, and then Brown County obviously has got some places. Just
A few.
the park.
Yeah.
is has some really good trails. If you're in for a kind of a day trip, going out to Terre Haute, Griffin Bike Park it's like a 300-acre bike park. They've got stuff for kids, and like they have like little tracks that are built for kids and other things like that. So it can be as challenging as you want it to be, and it can be it's a cool place. But yeah, no, it's something that I enjoy doing, and it breaks up the monotony of just like hopping on a bike and riding around town. Or
I can't wait to start
I like
shooting
that too, though.
I can't
Yeah,
wait
I
to
don't
start
like
shooting my
that.
bow again. I don't really like to shoot in the winter. I'm not like that tough. Like when my hands get cold, I'm not hunting elk like in
Right.
10-degree weather, so I don't need to train for that.
Is
I'm
that
not- I don't-
something
You
you,
need- you-
probably
you
can't
should
wear
have
gloves with either? Like you need to get your fingertips.
I mean, you can, but I would definitely prefer like my fingertips.
Yeah.
For sure. Just like shooting a rifle or a pistol. I mean, you can do it with gloves on, obviously,
Right.
but I would prefer my fingertips on it. But I also don't shoot for hours on end. Honestly,
Right.
like whenever I shoot, I literally, as soon as I shoot a perfect group, I'm done. Does that surprise anybody?
No.
No.
Like, and it could be, 4 to 6 shots. I'm done. What
Right.
am I going to get any better that day? No.
Do you ever gamble?
No.
Oh.
No, I would be the worst gambler.
I feel like
Actually,
you
if-
would be the kind of gambler that would like, I'm winning, I'm done.
right.
Which is,
I would,
Yeah.
100%. Sorry, I
which
know
is
it's
what
like-
I wish
Well,
my husband
so
was.
I like my my stepdad is really good at gambling, and I've always
Good. How you
Well,
good?
I've always
You just
he,
win a lot.
he is he only tells me the good stories,
Right.
But I would however much I planned on gambling, I trust him so much I would literally just give him
Yeah.
X amount of $1,000 or whatever, and then it's like, hey, here you go,
That's awesome.
because I'm going to lose. And at least you have a chance.
Right.
So I'm just going to give
Right.
it to him.
Dude, so completely random. I was went to this other gym to train. Was out of town for like a day or two, and hooked up with a buddy of mine. And like the gym that he's got that he trains in, they have a pit shark. Dude, I
Nice.
haven't seen a pit shark since college.
I've seen a lot for
Like,
sale right now.
Pit sharks are awesome, and like for those of you that don't know what a pit shark is, because it sounds weird, like so their logo is what you think it is. It's the body of a pit bull with the head of a shark on it. It's super cool looking. I don't know why it's cool, but it is. But it's basically, it's like an overbuilt belt squat kind of thing.
A lever belt squat machine.
Right. The lever, like the lever arm is a little different, so it's not at all a 1-to-1. Like you can load like 8 plates on each side and do for like 10 reps. Like it's definitely something that you can just do a lot of volume work on.
That's like the biggest argument with the machine is that it's like the leg press. You
Yeah,
need
it
like
is.
1,000+ pounds to
Right.
if you're kind of strong.
But the benefit of that is of it being a like a belt squat style, that at least you have that lower back traction, you've got some hip opening. And so there is some benefit to having that belt, but it is very leg pressy in terms of the weight is not at all a 1-to-1. You can do way more weight on that thing. But
As long as you have enough
just-
weights.
it's
I
so
know,
cool
yeah.
though, because like it is like the epitome of like iron pit, like just old school strength gym, because it's all like steeled out.
It does. It is a very
Everything's
cool
got
looking
knurling
machine.
on it. It like makes a lot of noise when you're unracking and stuff, and it's just like yeah, I'm in here and I'm moving weight. It's so dumb for those of us that are just complete meatheads. It's a fun little piece of machinery, but yeah. So let's
Next
have
question.
a question that we have to actually think about a little
Okay.
bit.
What do you think about training with thyroid issues? We've
Go
had
ahead, Evan.
several people recently address, point out that they have thyroid issues and kind of not ask a specific question about it, but they kind of want to know how that affects training and eating and all that.
I have
Do you
a
wanna start?
question first, and then I'll just go ahead. How many of these people? No, you may not. You're not gonna know the answer to this question
Yeah, probably not
at all. I would. This would just be for people's consideration. How many of these people have gone to the doctor and been diagnosed, gotten the test done, being diagnosed with a thyroid issue? And that would be my question, because I think a lot of times people, they look up the symptoms of something and they go well, I've got this, and then they kind of self-diagnose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are a lot of people that don't have thyroid issues that might think they do, when it is actually might be something else. That seems to be a very common step of I have this issue, and therefore that's why these things aren't happening.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you've been diagnosed with it by your doctor, then 100%, that's all. That's not awesome, obviously, but okay, you know what you're working with. You're not. If you think you've got it, I would recommend strongly go to your doctor, find out for sure. Don't just kind of going to operate on this idea that I might, because some of this stuff may not actually be beneficial. But anyway, what do you think, Evan?
I agree with everything you said, and I could finish the answer to that question and say we don't know the answer. Next question. And why are you, honestly, we do not rate to answer that question. It's a hormone.
Kind of
you
agree.
need to ask your doctor.
Yeah, and short answer is that you should still train.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
and you should still seek out a healthy, well-rounded diet, balanced diet.
I would absolutely argue that if you do have, my mom has a thyroid issue, so I take this stuff serious. I've probably researched more than most people, and I'm still not comfortable answering that question. It is so complex.
Yeah.
You need to ask your doctor, and you need to do everything perfect.
Right.
Sorry.
And you need to trust your doctor. So if
100%.
you don't think your doctor's giving you good answers or just trying to prescribe you something, then maybe seek out a different doctor.
So I've been in a position where I felt like someone's asking me for advice because their doctor didn't give them very good advice. I think that's a lot of pressure. That's too much pressure for someone in my position.
Yeah.
But also, I don't really appreciate if your doctor's telling you, well, you have a thyroid issue, so good luck.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not advice.
Yeah.
Some people just quit and I have a thyroid issue, and then I'm just going to have problems with my weight.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
yeah, you might a little bit, but you can quit and give up, or you can try real hard. You're going to have to try a little bit harder than most people if you have a thyroid issue.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things that I'll put on the doctor front, just because it's a completely shameless plug, if you happen to be in the Indiana, Ohio area, go see Dr. Eric Serrano, Pickerington, Ohio. It's a little bit of a drive, doesn't take insurance, but you get an hour of time with him, and he will talk to you about whatever you need to talk about. He'll everything else that he does, all the tests and all that stuff runs through insurance. But you pay that flat rate, you get him for an hour. Now, he will be brutally honest with you, because it's your health, it's your life. He's not going to sugarcoat stuff. He's not going to play around the edges. And there are videos, there's plenty of stuff, resources out there. But if you happen to be in that area and you're looking for a doctor that will not just pat you on the back, be like, oh, that's unfortunate, here's some meds. This guy will give you a lot of just self-education and things you can actually do, actionable steps to deal with any issue, honestly. That's kind of when we're talking about, like you said, the complexities of this particular issue are definitely like above what we should know.
Mm-hmm.
And like it personally, like it's not, I don't ever feel comfortable like you're basically giving medical advice, and we are at our core strength coaches. Like
I'll
and
give some actual advice here.
not to downplay what we do, but there is the scope of practice at the end of the day.
I would not be too quick to take a drug at all.
No.
My limited
That's with
research is there are no miracle drugs for the thyroid at all. So
Miracle drugs for anything.
yeah, but if that's what you're banking on, I mean, if it helps you sleep at night, that's fine, I guess. But it's probably not going to help you. You need to change your diet, and you need to be and sometimes
Drastic lifestyle changes.
yeah. There are things that you can do to push it further away. And sometimes with some individuals, it can't be helped. Like
Right.
100%, it can't be helped at all. But the longer you have a terrible diet and not taking care of yourself, the faster you're going to be consumed by it.
Right. And with issues like that, I know a lot of people that I've talked to have expressed like, oh, well, I've tried this, or I've tried to do these things. And sometimes like it takes going and sitting down with an actual, with what you guys are, nutrition coach, like actually sitting down and talking to somebody and going through the entirety of, okay, this is my mental pattern. These are my behavioral issues that I have. And like talking about just your entire relationship with food, your entire relationship with activity, and going from a top to bottom approach and looking at because like you said, when you have any kind of, thyroid problem or issue, it does require you to be that much more careful and particular, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, like, it may require outside help. It may require an outside professional help to, hey, let me come alongside you and let's work through this together as your trainer, as your nutritionist, to get you where you want to go. And just because it is going to be it's going to be a journey that's going to take a lot longer than you might think than you want it to, or than you might think it will. And it's going to be a journey that's going to require a lot more attention to detail. Unfortunately,
You're going to have to learn.
Right.
You're going to have to learn.
100%.
You're going to have to learn more than most people. It's going to be tough. It's a metabolism issue.
Right.
So you have to perfect everything around the metabolism. And I don't know anybody that's got that figured out. I mean, there are a lot of professionals out there that know a lot, but it's pretty complex.
It's not an easy fix by any stretch of the imagination. But don't take any of that to mean that it's not doable, because this is 100%
very doable.
100% doable.
Yeah, I still, almost every week or so, I'm helping my mom with stuff.
Right. It's doable, and it's not something that we haven't seen before and worked with people with.
Yeah.
So.
Next question.
Woo.
What is total daily energy expenditure, and why is it important?
Who
wants to start?
Buddy. Well, by the name, total daily energy expenditure is the amount of expenditure that you take,
energy
that you expend throughout the day. So basically,
totally,
dude. Basically, like, it is the amount of calories that you burn in a day.
Yeah.
Essentially, the amount of energy that you use.
You mean on the treadmill?
I mean in general,
all day.
So there's your basal rate, which is just going to be just living life, your normal basic
Living
rate.
life.
Basal rate is like just the amount
Existing.
of calories you burn just laying there.
Yeah,
Right, that's true.
Not moving, not eating.
Existing as a vegetable.
Yeah.
Right, existing.
Pretty much.
Existing. And there are people that I know that consume not enough to recover from that.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they
we
are
just covered
incredibly
the thyroid.
active people.
You're gonna mess up your metabolism. Just look
Yeah.
at it. You don't want to mess with your metabolism, because it's going to
No.
be really hard to come back from.
Yeah.
100%. And we actually in terms of kind of messing with your metabolism, we talked about that a little bit earlier. The idea of remember Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
When that show was popular?
Yeah.
Those guys losing, they're 400 pound people and they're
Yeah.
losing, 200 some odd pounds or whatever. and then they would get off the show and they would gain most of it back because their metabolism got slapped in the face, and now it's all out of whack trying to figure out what to do. And so their metabolism operates like they're still a 400-pound person.
They also, took drastic measures and didn't learn the habits that it takes to be that 200-pound person.
Right.
Exactly.
That's-
They didn't learn
that-
anything sustainable. They
Yeah.
learned a quick fix deal.
And they've done follow-up studies with those individuals, and it takes over 10 years still. It's still going.
Yeah.
And their metabolism is ruined. So over-exercising and under-eating
Yep.
to the extreme,
Not the answer.
it's not
Let's
the
be
answer.
really clear, though, that we're using metabolism and like BMR, like basal metabolic rate, what we just talked about, just laying there as like synonyms, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
I just want to be clear for people who don't know these terms
That's
well.
fair.
So total daily energy expenditure, that takes into account your activity levels and like what you're doing through the day
Right.
and how active your job is or not active your job is, how often you work out, that kind of stuff. And then it gives you a caloric number to follow or not.
Right.
Still
It's a formula.
Yeah, it's a formula, and it's not precise. It's still an estimate.
100%. Because unless you're hooked up,
Yeah.
like it's never going to be to the calorie.
Yeah.
Well, even if you like Google some calculators and Google like 3 different ones, so you get 3 different numbers, So
100%.
it's really hard to.
Yeah, and you'll probably put your numbers in wrong 3 different times.
Oh, what's funny is like I remember like so when we did like clinical stuff, like you would have to sit there and like there was a value given for however active your job was, and it was all self-evaluation. It was like, okay, my job is this active or this active, whatever that activity level was, and it's like, I guarantee that a lot of people go, oh, my job's actually pretty active, and they choose like a 2 or a 3 option when in actuality their activity level is more of a 1. Potentially.
People tend to overestimate how active they are and underestimate how much they eat
you should
all the time.
100%.
You should underestimate how active you are, 100%, and overestimate how much you're eating.
Well,
you
like
should.
I have one nutritional client I was working with, and she's a good example of this. When I asked her like how active she was, she's like, "Oh, I never sit down. Like watch TV or anything." And then we were talking a little bit more, and she was like, I guess I do spend like a really good chunk of my day in the car. And I'm like, well, that's sitting down. You don't like think about that because you're on the go and you're like, maybe you're running late to something, so you're not like relaxed, but you are not being active at that point.
I'm standing all day,
Yeah.
and I'm either with clients or not with clients. But unless I'm moving weights for people, it's honestly not that physical. I'm not working out all day.
Yeah.
Helping people work out.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not that physical at all.
Yeah.
I'm not moving wood. I'm not wheelbarrowing anything.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm
We're
not.
not construction
I'm not
workers.
pacing and serving. I'm not a mail carrier or anything like that. That's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. I'm standing all day.
We should do at some point. I don't know if it's. We should do a podcast talking about like the idea of like just because you're active at work doesn't mean you don't have to work out.
Oh, definitely. We can go into a little bit more specifics if you want
But,
to.
yeah,
with
dig into
the-
TD
Yeah,
dig into
why is
TDEE.
it important?
Well,
Like, why does this number even exist?
We
Why do
talked
care?
about the basal metabolic rate. It takes up to 70% of your total calories. You think it's important? It is. You need to do, but that right there is all the simple, all the boring, all the healthy things that you should be doing for yourself.
Right.
And your body's going to use a lot of energy.
Right. And that's
Sleeping.
that's
Yes.
literally
huge.
right.
I mean, by that I mean sleeping. You burn a lot of calories.
Yeah.
Right. That's literally just keeping your heart beating, your liver functioning. Like that's just keeping the engine running.
Yeah.
Requires a lot.
So the next most important on the list is non-exercise activity. Non-exercise. So if you're exercising, this is not that. Okay, it's standing up and putting away the dishes, stuff like that, like fidgeting. I'm moving my hands around, stuff like that.
Shoveling the
Right.
driveway.
Walking,
Yeah, exactly.
walking to the
That's
store
not-
from your car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not exercise.
Yeah.
If it is exercise, you need to get in better shape because it's not exercise. I mean, by definition, it's not, guys. I'm sorry.
It's
No,
true.
but I feel like I
Yeah,
just exercise.
but
so
true.
the reason why that's more important, and that's why it's next on the list, is that burns more calories throughout the day than you exercising.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how many days do you actually exercise a week? Every day? I doubt it. You know,
Right.
I doubt it. Probably 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times
Yeah,
a
out of
week,
7.
maybe. But
So why do we exercise then if we burn more calories?
to
doing
increase
that
your
stuff?
BMR, to increase your basal metabolic rate.
How's
Yep.
that
Yeah.
happen?
Let's
Break it down.
you
for
have
the
to live.
Yeah,
you
let's
ha-
break it down, Evan.
Oh my gosh, this could be 2 hours long. You have to lift weights. You have to put stress on your skeleton. You have to build muscle. I'm going to say it again. You have to build muscle.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more
It-
muscle you have, the higher your BMR is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
But can
Your-
you say that again so people
more
understand?
muscle for the people in the back.
Yeah.
The more muscle you have, the higher your BMR is.
Yeah. So if you come into the gym and you're afraid to be bulky, you need to pretty please stop thinking that way. Seriously. And you're not going to be, if you're bulky, it's because you're not happy with your weight and you need to
Yeah.
lose fat mass
Body fat,
because
yeah.
muscle mass is so important.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
it looks really good. I mean,
it
Yeah.
does.
when people say, there was a mom on my sister's volleyball team just this past weekend that said something. My mom was working out with her. They were out of town. I sent her a workout to do. And the lady said, yeah, we do stuff like this at the gym I go to, but I think they're just trying to bulk me up because we're always doing like really heavy weights. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, people are so funny when they say that because that's actually what they want. And they have no idea
Right.
that's what they want. That's what they want to look like. They just have
specifically
too much.
as the client. That's
Yeah.
actually what the client wants, but they
Right.
don't understand that
Yeah.
that's what
100%.
the trainer or the coach is actually trying to do them. Like, oh, you don't want to be bulky, but I'm going to try to build muscle because if I build muscle on you, you're going to be stronger and you're going to burn more fat. There's the answer.
Yeah.
And on top of all of that, you're going to so you can't be. So people talk about I want to look this way, or like I want these muscle groups to look a certain way. Well, in order for that muscle group to look a certain way, you have to have some muscle there
Yeah.
for it to actually
Exactly.
look like
Right.
anything.
If you
Yes.
don't have a lot of muscle mass and you just burn a lot of fat, you're not going to look that good. You're going to look like that scrawny drug addict outside.
Oh
your
my
house.
goodness.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Well,
you're not going to
It's
look
true. It's
healthy.
true.
I've talked to you about some of that stuff. If you get, too lean and you don't have as much, too lean. If you get, too
It ain't ever going to happen with me.
well,
trust me.
I'm just saying, if you want to, whatever your perception is of a perfect physique or a perfect body, and you
Right.
don't have the muscle mass, you're not going to look healthy
Yeah.
at all.
I will once
You're going
again.
to look hungry.
I will once again say for the millionth time, we're going to say it a million times on this podcast, and we will continue to say it. Lifting heavy will not make you bulky. And B, the way to lose fat, the way to get whatever you feel like you want is not hours of endless cardio and 12 or in 2-pound dumbbells, for an endless amount of reps. Like lifting heavy weight safely under the guidance of a good program and a good coach, like those movements, those things are not going to just magically, you're not going to turn in like overnight, oh, I'm a female bodybuilder now. Like
Yeah.
that's not how that works at all. It'll get you much closer to like being actually where you want to be. The thing is that being stronger has never been a bad thing. Like I have never once been somebody that been like, you know what? I'm too strong. It's kind of a problem.
I still have not trained one single person that's ever been too strong.
I've never met anybody that like, you know what? I really wish I could be weaker.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen.
So next on the list is thermic effective food. That's important. When you consume food, it takes energy to break that food down.
Right.
And if you're eating stuff in boxes all the time, then you're not actually doing a good service to your body
100%.
because your body wants to store it. Also, if you eat a ton of protein, it has a higher thermic effect. I mean, it's important. I mean, all the simple stuff. I mean, lift weights, try to build muscle, eat a lot of protein, stop eating stuff in boxes. How about
I
that?
like it.
Yeah. That could be the promo right there.
Right.
So the last, we don't need to talk about thermic effect of food. It's not that big of a deal. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, you don't have to look into it. Okay. Just eat a lot of protein. You'll be fine. Stop eating stuff in boxes. Okay.
For those that want to know, you can look into it.
You can, yeah, but it's not that interesting.
No,
the
it's
last
not.
on the list is what we do for a living. Up to 5 to 10% of your total caloric expenditure is from actual exercise.
Right.
And how much research goes into that 5 to 10%? It matters.
It does.
It matters. Or else I wouldn't be doing this. And I don't think you'd be doing this, and I don't think you'd be doing this.
Nope.
And I don't think people would pay to require help.
Right.
It's important.
It is.
That being said, I have a list. As soon as you were talking about lifting weights again, there's nothing. You need to be strong. You need to lift weights. You need to try to build muscle. In order, you need to lift weights. Then you
Resistance
need
training of some
Yes.
kind.
yes.
something.
Then as far as like caloric expenditure, okay, you need to lift weights all the time. If you're just doing cardio, hopefully that's your favorite activity or sport because you're not doing your metabolism or your muscle mass the justice that it deserves.
Yeah.
Right.
So lift weights and then high intensity intervals, not just going to sprint. Like honestly, how many people go out there and just sprint? How often do you sprint, Jared?
Pretty. I mean, like a decent
That
amount.
being said, still once a week or less.
Right.
Okay.
I
And-
don't sprint.
Okay.
To the high intensity interval thing really quick. When we talk about high intensity, we are talking about a high percentage of output. So imagine that your 100%, every ounce of energy you've got is 100%. Okay, so intensity, whenever we talk about intensity, we're talking about a percentage point or a percentage of that 100%. When you do high intensity interval training, you are trying to get as close to all of your energy at one time. It is not high effort in interval training. It's high intensity interval training, which requires an adequate amount of rest between the intervals so that you can actually put out high output, not just make yourself tired and then, I'm doing high intensity interval training and you've got a 10-second rest period. You're not recovering. I'm blanking on your phosphocreatine system is not replenishing fast enough. I promise. It doesn't replenish that fast. You need time to recover to then be able to output that, to be able to put out that amount of energy. I clearly need to sleep a little more.
high intensity, then high effort.
Right.
Okay. High intensity would be short, intense bouts of exercise.
Right.
So you lift heavy, and then you calmly think about what you're going to do next, and you rest. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing high intensity intervals because you're too tired to put out a high enough intensity for it to be considered high intensity.
Right. Well, and it's not it's not quality. Like
Right.
you have to have energy in order to put a quality amount of work.
Next
forward.
on the list would be high effort. So this could be cardio. This could be
Mm-hmm.
slowly moving around the gym from machine to machine to machine to machine. It's still aerobic. You're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, last on the list as far as what burns the most calories long term, cardio.
Long and slow,
So
steady
if-
state cardio.
For someone out there, if you're listening and you think cardio is number one on the list, I just told you it's not. If you don't believe me, you can fact check it. It's last on the list.
100%.
If I wanted to lean down and lose weight, I'm putting, if I was a gambling man, all my weight or all my money is like, 90%. 90% of that is going into lifting weights.
Right.
And then the rest of it is a mixture.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very brief step into the world of total daily energy expenditure.
Yeah. It's way more complex than that.
So you just
honestly.
said that lifting weights or resistance training of some sort is number one.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. You could
Thank you.
actually not. You could actually not even do cardio.
You could.
You could actually not even do high intensity interval training.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
you would still see the
Yep.
most results better than if you were just doing one of those other two things.
Right.
So my next question is, how many days a week can I lift weights safely? Because if that's true, then you would get more out of 5 days a week lifting weights than you would, 3 days a week with some HIIT.
Right.
Right?
As is the answer with most things. It depends. And the biggest deciding factor on how many days you can train is how good is your recovery.
Yeah.
If your recovery is in the tank, you're not sleeping well, your intake is less than optimal, you got a lot of work stress, family stress, your ability to recover from that workout is not going to be optimized. The easiest way to look at it is it doesn't matter what you can do, it's a matter of what you can recover from. You can go out there and do the best workout that exists, and if your recovery isn't going to be sufficient in order to actually you're not going to get the benefit from that. You're not going to see the results you want.
Yeah, I've been doing a program for 5. I'm on my 5th week now of. So what I was finding is when I was training in the gym, it was taking me like a long time because like my kids are in there and they're needing like this and that, and it was taking me like an hour and a half to like get through everything that I was trying to do, and I was doing that like 3 days a week, and I was like, this just isn't working. So I rewrote the program so it is 5 days a week, and it's not as long. It's like 30 to 45 minutes of training, and that works really, really well for me. And I've felt really good doing it. I only do one really hard exercise like a day. I do it first, and then the rest of the stuff is like fill-in stuff. But I feel like I've started at a different level maybe, and I do the things that I need to do to recover.
Right.
That's how I train most days.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's everything. I rarely beat a record on every single exercise. Those days are long gone unless I'm terrible at the exercise.
Right.
But I would say you can train from 1 to 5 days a week. If you're training less than 1 day a week, after 40 years of age, you're going to lose muscle mass and you're going to lose strength.
Yep.
You're going to lose 1% of your muscle mass after the age of 40 every single year.
Ouch.
And you're going to lose 3% of your strength every single year for the rest of your life. So
if you're not doing something.
Yeah.
So you're like peaking right now.
Hey. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll be 35 here in a month or so.
I train very similarly. So I used to do 4 days in the gym, hour a pop and that kind of thing. And I enjoyed it because it had been what I've always done, and I just like training. And so any style of training I will make myself enjoy. But I have found that as well, doing something more in the range of 30 to 45 minutes, but I try to do something every day. And that may not always be, something super heavy. That I've got probably 4 or 5 days that are weight moving days. And then, I've got other days that it's some kind of AMRAP. It's some kind of heavy cardio. Now when I say heavy cardio, I like weighted cardio, like 20 rep squats or something stupid with the yoke, where it's just, it's 20, 30 minutes of just, all right, this is going to be terrible and I'm going to get through it. But I enjoy a little bit of it. I enjoy pain. But to that same point, I try to do some kind of workout every day. I've got myself on an 8-day rotation because there's no rules that say like, oh, we have to live within this 7-day week. You can put yourself on any kind of program rotation you want. So
I think like short answer to answer this question is maybe kind of redefine what you think training has to be. I think a lot of people have it in their minds they have to work out for an hour. It has to be hard.
Yep.
And that
I need to be in a pool of sweat every single time.
And that actually deters a lot of people because they can't make that kind of time, nor can they put out that kind of energy and recover from it. I mean, when I'm training like this, I sometimes don't even break a sweat. It's like I'm working really hard at the moment, but then you recover right afterwards, and so
I agree. And that's a subtle plug. If you have an open gym membership, you can come in more days and do some of these little workouts.
And that's kind of why I wanted to address that, because I think after January, a lot of people did get open gym memberships, but they're kind of lost now on what to do on their off days. So instead of going to the cardio room and getting on the treadmill and thinking like that's your only option, I think you should maybe try to lift some.
I would, rewind the podcast about 20 minutes and, listen to what we said about non-exercise activity and how many calories that burns on your off days. That's what you need to do. We had an entire podcast on this.
Yeah.
But
If you still want to come in on the days that you're not in a structured workout with us, like that's not a problem, but like Evan said, if there are usually going to be places that you can add a little more activity in your day, and mixing in more activity in your day, and if you've got the time and the availability and want to come in and do something extra, like those are going to be beneficial workouts if your recovery is in a place that it can handle it.
I can explain what I do, even though you guys make fun of me for my standards. In the winter, I can't train more than 4 days a week, or I'll go backwards.
Yeah.
I live in the gym. Is anyone surprised? I mean, if I train more than 4 days a week, I love to be in the gym. I love to train. If I train more than that, then I go backwards. And what I want to do right now, just like the last few weeks, because it's been so cold, I've wanted to train even less, 3 days a week, and I wanted to eat more. And you know what? I'm okay with it. Spring is right around the corner, and I want to be really lean, but I don't really care. Because right now, I'm so cold that I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to go on walks. I don't even want to go outside and, chop wood. I don't want to do any. I mean, I will, but I don't want to do anything. I want to do less.
What's funny
I want
is
to hibernate even more.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's normal. Sun's out less. It's cold outside. Like that's the natural
Completely
response.
normal. If you think back to hunter-gatherers,
Yeah.
they're sleeping when it's dark outside. They're not doing anything when it's
Right.
dark outside. So
You're not,
they do go.
all the
through-
predators out there are going to see you at night. You're not going to see them.
Yeah.
Right.
So you should probably stay safe.
We are made to, go through these changes with the seasons, especially living where we do, where we get the seasons, which
Sometimes
I
in
love.
one day.
Yeah, that's true. But you even not only lifestyle and training and stuff like that, but also diet. Think of the foods that should be available to us right now. It's probably you should be eating a high protein diet right now because we're not growing things.
Bioavailability.
If we were thinking back to fending for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's true.
If you're training, let's say you train 3 days a week, 1 or 2 of them has to be lifting weights. If you train 4 days a week, hopefully 2 to 3 of them, they have to be lifting weights.
Right.
Yeah.
If you train 5 days a week, hopefully at least 3 of those days, maybe 4, even 5, you can lift weights.
Yep.
Okay. On your other days, if you love to be in the gym, you can train more often. Like Jared likes to train, so he wants to train every day. He wants to do something every single day, but not every day is Jared doing crazy type of training. Everything is very evenly dispersed,
Right.
so that the stress is not. I mean, you can. I know you have higher stress days and lower stress days.
Oh, for sure.
But that's the goal. For me, almost every day that I train, I have 2 days that I train quite a bit harder lower body, and then 2 days generally that I train quite a bit harder upper body. And I know that whenever I train my lower body really hard, it stresses me out more, quite a bit more. So I have to try and account for that. So that's all I'll do. I won't really do any cardio at all whatsoever in the winter. So I'm a little bit different, but if you want to do things in the gym, I would say 1 to 2 days a week, weight training, maybe 3. And then any other day of the week, either hobby stuff, basic activity stuff, come in the gym, do easy, simple things. It shouldn't be too stressful.
Right.
At all whatsoever.
And the thing is how do you know? You listen to your body.
Yeah,
Pay attention to yourself.
It takes a long time.
It does.
I don't know how many times, even with one client, I will completely change their program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll do it daily until I can figure it out weekly, and then I'll do that until I can figure out biweekly and then monthly, and it takes a while sometimes.
Yeah. And it takes a while too to build up the GPP, the general physical preparedness. It takes a while to build up that ability to do 3 days, 4 days, or to do extra workouts, because there are days there are times when, you know, I'll build a program for myself. All right, cool, this looks good. And I'll start doing things. And I'll get into it and be like, okay, I don't think I'm ready for
Oh no.
I don't think I'm ready for that. Evan just overdrank some coffee. But there are days that you get there and you're like, okay, like maybe I'm not ready for 4 days. And you go back to 3 for a little bit, and then you try it again and go, okay, yeah, maybe I can do this now. Or maybe you only do it. You do 4 days on one week, you do 3 days the next week, and you just slowly build yourself, like we talk about with everything, for the most part, building yourself up in a sustainable way. That's something that you enjoy doing. It doesn't this doesn't have to be like grueling and like hate your life. Like none of this stuff should ever be like that. Yeah. Like, and if it is, like, have a conversation with one of us, and like we will do everything we can to help you find that balance so that you can do something that's sustainable and enjoyable, and will get you where you want to go.
That being said, if you're training only 2 days a week in the gym, I mean, work your butt off while you're there. You
100%.
know, make it worth your while. Don't think like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of slack off because I'm gonna train again tomorrow on my own, or whatever it is. You know, I think people are so scared to like pick up the 40-pound dumbbells. I'm like, why?
People are stronger than they think they are.
Because it's on the next row, like all the time. I mean, all the time I have people that are way strong enough to use those, and I'm like, move up to 40s. They're like, I would never do this.
Yeah, or like the mental jump for some people going from like a 25 and 210s to a 35 or 45 pound plate. Yeah. It's the exact same weight, but it looks different.
Yeah. Well, and they didn't get to ease into it either.
Right.
And like, I've started recording people's weights because I'm like, quit starting with something that you have always started with. Like, you know, you're way stronger in this.
Yep. I agree. And that's the hard balance, I will say. And it's something that's learned over time for all of us, is like the difference between, okay, I'm like mentally, I don't want to do this, but I know as soon as I start, I'll be all in. And I'm actually kind of hurt, or I'm actually not recovered well. Like start learning those differences, learning how to listen to your body, because, you know, there are days sometimes, I walk in and I'm not super excited about what I got to do today, but I got to put the work in. I got to do it. So, and usually as soon as I get started, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm good to go. You know, there's a rule that some guys have talked about, and I kind of like the idea. If you're feeling like you don't want to work out, tell yourself, okay, I won't work out tomorrow. Go work out that day. And if you still feel like that the next day, tell yourself it tomorrow. If you get 3 days in a row where you're like, oh man, I'm still feeling pretty rough, okay, then maybe you do have something in your recovery you need to look at. Mm-hmm. But like, don't fall victim to I want to sit on the couch. I want to because we as human beings want to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. And so it does take time to figure out that difference.
I had a day like that this week, actually.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty rare for me to feel like that. Some days when I train, it's just literally punch the clock, and it's no big deal. I'm just putting in another session. I'm still training kind of hard. I know I'm not my best that day. But, yeah, this week I thought, man, I don't want to work out. I don't want to train. I don't want to do anything. And I didn't.
But, yeah. Aaron, I know you were kind of on a time schedule. If you want to leave, you can. Evan and I can kind of wrap up if we need to, because I know we're about we're getting close.
Questions real quick?
No, that's it today.
Woo! Aaron made it through. We got all the questions answered?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, in that case,
that's impossible.
I'm down. Yeah, right. All the questions that we had slated for today. Don't worry, folks. We have a plenty long list of your questions still.
I can just come up with some.
Continue. Let's go ahead and wrap up. This works. This week will be a little shorter. I'm sure none of you guys will complain. If you guys continue to send us emails, send us DMs, write questions on the whiteboard, come in, talk to us. That email account is partycast@gmail.com. We are always here to answer questions, to field any concerns you guys have. We appreciate the consistent support of those that download and participate and stay engaged. So like I said, if you guys ever need anything, reach out, talk to us. We're here to help. We're here for you guys. So everybody have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of PartyCast. Check us out on your favorite podcasting site. And remember, each episode is also available on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and we will see you next time.